welcome to the VIP Investment Club. I'm JD Frost with JD Frost & Company, and we have another episode today for you. We're going to be talking about our stock picks from the last time. We're going to be talking about a couple new deals that we have and discussing what are we going to do with all this money that we got sitting in the bank account. So, that's kind of where we are right now. We have a few new face, or one new face today. Matt Church from our office is licensed in all that stuff you're supposed to be licensed in. What is it? 650?
Series 6, 63, and 65 for investments and securities licenses.
Awesome. So now we have a licensed person that's helping us with our stock picks, And by the way, I want to reinforce, don't do the things that we are doing. This is more for your enjoyment. This is just for you to experience and walk alongside us and to see what is happening, what we're investing in. So the stocks that we picked last time, some of them are doing pretty good.
Yeah. So on October 16th, we made the trades. So we have 14 shares of Tesla, 90 shares of General Motors, and then 13 shares of Apple. We had $10,000 to invest. We invested them basically equally with a little bit of rounding for the shares, so $3,333 in all of them. It's almost 1 month exactly later on, and we've done pretty good. The account's sitting a little over $11,500. $1,500 increase in a month is not too bad.
Especially for a couple people getting together and throwing it into some investments,
so
right?
changing the name, is it no longer the DA stock picks?
No, we're done with the dumbass stock picks. We're getting smart about it.
Yeah, that made me nervous the first time you came out and called them that. I was like,
yeah. Well,
it's my money too.
When you start something, you kind of start making some adjustments,
That's
right?
right.
It's a halftime adjustment.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like anything else too with stocks, like sometimes they go good, sometimes they don't do as well, but it's done, really, really good for a month in terms of percentages. Looking at it, I wish we had $100,000 to throw into it instead of $10,000.
Yeah.
Tesla's been the big winner. I think it was a week or two after we made the purchases, they came out with their quarterly earnings, and they had done really, really well. They exceeded expectations. So most of the gain is coming from Tesla. I think 900 of the 1,500 or something like that. But Apple's also done really well too in this last quarter. GM's kind of the lagger, but even then, I think it's down $50 or $60. I checked as of this morning, so it's not. It's down some.
flat, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. For all intents
you were
and
the
purposes.
Tesla guy. You're the ones that brought Tesla to the table.
It was on sale. I told you guys, it was on sale.
So with GM performing like it is and being a little bit flat, do we want to think about making some kind of change there? Do y'all have any ideas? Do you have anything that you've heard about that is something that we might want to?
Well, Tesla's getting ready to announce their truck, and it's futuristic is kind of the way they've described it. And so nobody's really seen it yet. Cyberpunk has been a word used to describe it. So I think it's soon, though. It's like within the next few days or week or something like that. So that's really interesting to me. I think it's going to be polarizing, and so some people are going to be like, the traditional truck market isn't going to want it, so that you may see a dip because of that. I don't know, but I bet that they'll sell out of whatever pre-order they do. So I'm still super bullish on Tesla.
Well, Tesla's kind of, you're either in the club or out of the club,
That's right? Yeah.
And if you're in, you're going to be all in.
But I think they've been real, with their style so far, it's been very kind of conservative and just kind of they haven't really gone too extreme, but it sounds like this truck is on the extreme
Unlike
end.
their owner.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
He's all over the board.
He is all over it. Yeah. So anyway, I'm really excited about what's going to happen with Tesla. And Apple, they just released a new 16-inch laptop, and so that's just come out, and it's receiving incredibly good reviews. So I think it's really going to boost their fourth quarter. So I'm still, of those two that we have, I'm still very excited about.
Well, and two, the decisions that we're making now. We shot a month ago, right?
Yeah.
And we were together a month ago making these decisions. Y'all just want to dump GM and put it back into Tesla and Apple?
Yeah. What do you guys want to say?
We could do that. There's a couple of others. There's one in particular that I've had my eye on since 2016, just about, and it's AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. They just came out. I'm kind of into that thing anyways of computers and processors and all that. AMD has done really, really well. Their stock is up. I think it was at just over $20 in January of this year, and it was at $37 or $38 a share this morning. It was at $31 a month ago, and I think it's going to continue to go up. Their new lineup that they've had coming out in processors are really, really good. They're really competitive from a performance, a price standpoint, and a value standpoint when you compare them to Intel, which is the major competitor. And all of the projections look like Intel is going to be on the back foot for the next 2 to 3 years. So I would be
staying diversified. I mean,
dump GM, split half of it, put that into Apple and Tesla, take the other half and put them to AMD if the group is amiable to it. I feel good about AMD over the next couple of years.
Well, right now Apple's at the highest it's ever been, right?
Well, yeah, just about everything's at the highest it's
so,
ever been.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So with that, why don't we take that GM money instead of buying more in there? I mean, I guess stuff's going to continue to go up, but not maybe as much as it has in that, and go try something and be a little more diversified than just those two.
Yeah.
And go to put that other $3,300 into AMD.
We'd be into quite a bit of tech. Tesla's, I think you could make an argument, it's sort of tech too, tech and automobiles, and then Apple, of course, being tech, and then draw my mind.
We live in a tech world, though.
Yeah.
AMD.
Yeah. I think, yes, even if with the market pullback coming at some point, it's going to, whether that's in the next month or the next year or something like that. I think there's certain industries that are going to be continuing to be very strong. Medical devices are going to be one. Technology and tech, I think, is going to be another one.
Yeah, I mean, I think people buy technology no matter what's going on.
Look around us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
everything we do is technology based now.
James, what do you and Colby think about splitting it up, dropping GM and going with AMD?
I know I was kind of out of it for the last meeting with some stuff going on, and you kind of just killed it by saying you don't want to be too tech heavy. But right before earnings announcements, I bought a ton of Facebook. I think they get beat up strictly for the political stuff that you see going on. But to get fined $4 billion and then report the earnings that they did, and JD and I probably personally contribute a massive percentage of that advertising spend. But I mean, our company will probably spend over $1 million this year on Facebook. And I think they're poised to be somewhat recession proof from the fact that if we hit a big recession, some of these bigger companies that have not advertised on Facebook, your blue chips, your McDonald's and Coke and Pepsi and all that, they're going to look for a cheaper play when the market's not as bullish, and Facebook is still just so cheap to advertise on, and we make a killing at it. So I knew that earnings report was going to be huge. I mean, you look at JD, one of your newer clients. I mean, they probably are going to do, $50 million of ad spend on there. So after the earnings report, they took a pretty good, jump from it, but I think people are scared of it, and it's not anywhere near its 52-week high yet because of all the political stuff. But political advertisements is like less than 1% of the revenue. So it's my 2 cents.
Cool. What about you, Colby?
I like the Facebook that he said. Also, is another one would be Microsoft to look at, and I've looked at AMD in the past as well.
What if we got another $51,000 just sitting there in the bank account? What if we peel off a little bit of that and do Facebook and AMD?
I think it's a good idea.
Like another 10 grand,
something.
$5,000 each.
JD, with how much time you spend on Instagram, people forget Facebook owns Instagram. I mean, at least it'll make you even more money while you're on there, right?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, part of me, and that's one thing I wanted to talk about today too. Is our money just sitting there, and I know we haven't had too many frost tank deals, what we called frost tank deals, or real deals. But I think we're going to be focusing more on the small business investment moving forward. The stock market is an easy way to get our money doing something for us, because I know like I see the balance every day. It's like on my bank balance report, and it just keeps staying the same. Like I'd almost rather see it go down a little bit, to be honest with you.
And then just stay level.
Then just stay level, and by I mean down, I mean like we do something with it, right? Like we put it into something.
Yeah. Yeah, AMD, just one more thing about AMD, that's the same, they're also a graphics chip maker, and so that's what's in the new MacBooks that just came out. I mean, Apple's very bullish on implementing AMD. AMD has another competitor, which is NVIDIA, and so...
So it wouldn't only be like it would be kind of complementary to
it would be
investing in Apple.
It would be, yeah. Yep. AMD's great.
Just down the supply chain.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
So this would be my first episode. So what's the rules here? How do we vote? Do we vote on this? Do we say I'm in favor of 5,000 to Facebook and 5,000 to AMD? I think
What
that's a
is
good
Facebook?
idea.
Well, do we have the proxy of the people that
196 right
aren't
now.
here? What, Ricky we're missing? Rick, Doug, Ramiz. So that's
196.
only 3 of the 9 that are part of it.
All right, to keep it democratic, why don't
I think we could vote on it right now. Plus, in the documents, I've got all rights
well,
reserved to do whatever I want.
you say I could send an email out to the group and get their take? But
What
if
have
you
we
wanna-
done?
Just remember, I break legs.
I know.
I'm a country boy.
But really,
I'm not coming with a lawyer.
That is what we
That's
have
true.
signed up for.
No, that's
but
right.
Somebody had to
I
be.
want it to be. I want it to
Yeah,
be
that's
what
right.
we want to do. But also, like, I mean, I don't want to wait another month to like get our
No,
money
well,
rolling, you know?
I mean, we've got quorum here. There's 5 of 9. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a majority.
Yeah.
So I guess the decisions then are, what do we do with GM stock? Sounds like we're
Canon.
all in favor of.
Well,
would
I
say
guess
can.
y'all want to dump that and split it between those two, and then go 5, because then that'll put us 5 apiece in all of them. If
So-
we go 20,000 in 4 different ones, we dump
Oh,
GM.
yeah.
Okay.
And put
yeah.
it,
Right,
and put
right,
it
right,
in
right.
in the Tesla and
Apple.
and that'll put $5,000 that we've invested in that.
And
in
then
each
we'll
one of
put
those.
$5,000 in AMD and $5,000
and we'll have,
in Facebook.
Yeah, we'll have $20,000 invested in 4 different companies.
What do y'all think about that?
I'm in favor of that.
Thumbs
All
up.
right. I know Colby wants his money working for him
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. That's what we're going to do.
All right,
Cool.
it'll be done. I'll
And
send an
then-
email out when it's done.
Yeah, well, and this time, too, since we already have the account open,
It'll be a lot
we'll be able
faster.
to do it a lot quicker.
Yeah, because
We
I
can
think
make that
I think we
trade
lost some
tomorrow.
money by not being able to just
I know,
execute.
We did.
Yeah,
I
we
have to
could've-
report, and I hate to report this, but we did lose some money by not being able to act as quickly,
Yeah.
which,
Who was that?
all of us, both of us, as far as not being able to act.
Well, no, you were talking about.
Well, because we
did
weren't
have
able
some
to.
money.
We didn't get.
Oh,
we
yeah, didn't get it bought. I
the
thought you meant
account.
somebody pulled out.
Yeah, we
Right,
missed some
right.
upswing
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
was it
Yeah.
Apple?
Yeah, and Tesla. Both.
And Tesla.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Little bit.
how much did that cost
I
us? Do
didn't.
you
I
remember?
didn't. I didn't
Did you
look it
figure
up.
it out?
I didn't look it up. I
We're
was.
just,
I mean,
just moved
sleeping
on.
dogs
Just,
lie.
I just moved on.
It's just one of
Moved on.
those things,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll go ahead. We'll invest the 5,000 AMD, 5,000 into Facebook, and then drop GM, and invest the remainder there into Tesla and Apple. To sum it up. All right, excellent.
Exciting.
So that's what we're gonna do with our stock picks. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Way
Really
to go, Matt.
appreciate it. Doing
You're
a good
welcome.
job on that.
I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
Awesome.
I like the weekly updates.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
told them I
good.
like to gamble, so seeing a weekly update is.
Yeah, it's good. This is
Yeah,
up.
he kinda
This
likes
is
to go.
down a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And that's what this meant to do. So speaking of updating, from our last meeting, Scott LaFerry had requested for some money. I know that we had requested some documents from him. Did we rotate any of those documents around at all?
Yes, the proposals that you had forwarded to me, I did send those to the group along with. He had a couple letters that were giving an overview of what he was looking for.
The
what he
actual
wanted.
contracts.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, we still have that opportunity out on the table, and based off of our last show, really starting to focus more on this small business investment. I feel like that's where we can have a lot more movement, a lot more opportunity. We've got a new opportunity today that we're going to hear about as well. But just wanted to circle back around with everybody about investing with Scott and World Image Professionals. Do we want to give him something just to kind of see how it goes? Is it even worth that?
Well, we know right now we've got $41,000 in there. We don't know how much she's asking for. So when we see where we're at and how we're going to distribute our money and what our returns are going to be, is I guess when we decide where we'd put the money. He asked for something similar to what I asked for from Scott. Was a cost breakdown of his takeoff on his job. What his material costs were and what his labor costs were. So
right.
Because a big chunk of what he's asking us for is to cover payroll.
And we still never received that, did we?
As far as I know, I've never seen it. I've seen the contracts, but
right.
Contracts are only as good as the paper they're written on. You've got to go out and do the work.
Yeah. Okay. And so you were looking for those particular jobs what his estimate was.
Yeah, because he's asking us for money for payroll, and those jobs are going to probably be pretty material dependent because they're hotels with a lot of wallpaper. And I've went and done my research with
other painters and stuff like that,
and
right?
Yeah, that we both trust, and just to get, because I'm in construction, but that's a very specific form of construction. So to go get us some inside knowledge, and I've talked to some of the suppliers around here too about them in particular, and I think that's something we need to see to know. So this last time he came back asking for what, $70,000 or $60,000 or something.
Yeah, he went ahead and asked for a little bit more.
Yeah, but so number one, we don't even have that much to give.
Right, exactly.
So we're gonna have to.
Well, and if we ever have opportunities too, it doesn't mean that we can't kind of go back to the pot and see if anybody wants to throw in some additional if we have a really good opportunity.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Which I think all of us would be open to if that opportunity was there.
That's right.
But I will say, just based off his character and everything, I know of another loan that he has gotten, and he hasn't missed any payments. Okay. And I see that firsthand. So that's something that for us to consider as well, and it's a weekly payment type of setup, so it hadn't been an issue.
Okay.
I think Scott's had a challenging past, and I think that's set him up where what he communicated to me, because he had an offline conversation with me, was just, hey, I'm willing to give up, because I think he changed the term to 20%, which is, and I told him, I'm like, dude, this is expensive money. Like, there's a lot of other ways you could, why would you not, it's kind of, why are you doing this when there's, and so he just kind of shared a little bit more of his past, where it's like, okay, he's kind of in a position where he's got to cross over the chasm, and he really believes if he has this cash, he can use that. He sees that expense of that money being kind of more of a one-time thing than an ongoing, going back to the well. He got ahead of himself on sales versus what his capital is capable of doing. So it's a cash flow. He has a cash flow problem.
Right.
So, I'm very interested in it, but I think there are enough warning. You got to look at someone's past and like how they got to where they are, and you have to assess all of that as part of. It's not like that determines your future, but we would be foolish to not look at like, okay, well, what's in place different today? And I think the only red flag I'm feeling now, outside of kind of the obvious things we've talked about, is that we've both asked for some more concrete documentation on just understanding why do you need this exact amount of money? What's it going to do for you? I think that's the part I haven't seen. So that's the red flag for me. I told him, I'm like, listen, I understand that you've gone ahead and it's a round number, right? You've made it an ish, but we'd love to see like a breakdown. And if you haven't done that, then that's okay. But go do that because you need that for your own business anyway. But we need to know where's that money going to go. How's it going to be used? And I think that's the part of the plan and the discipline that seems to be missing from the ingredients for me to be like, I feel like if we had that, then I'd feel, and we looked at it and it made sense, then I would feel pretty bullish.
I agree with that
about
110% because that's the industry I'm in. And at any time on one of my jobs, if you come to me and you say, hey, I need to see roughly what your material costs are and what your labor costs are, for the most part, I can put that in front of you pretty quick.
Yeah.
You know, and especially if I'm needing that kind of money from somebody, then I would think that I'm going to push to have that to them. Because this is where I'm at.
You're going to do whatever you can in order to be able to get that money at that time.
That's right.
Right.
And other than just wanting the money, saying, hey, I want it, you give it to me, my word is you're going to get it back.
Right. Yeah, that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't work.
And when you don't have credit, that's why you're coming to us. You know,
Right.
credit is your word in
Yeah.
the world we live in. You see that he's paying loans back.
Yeah, that's exciting to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we could just go back to him and say, we're still interested. We'd love to see a plan for the money of how you're going to use that and why that's the amount you need. And
Well, and maybe not only just to like
Yeah.
I think he's going to say like I'm going to use it for the I'm going to use it for the jobs, but what's this? You keep saying the labor and material.
that's
Break-
right.
yeah.
Like,
A
give us
breakdown.
an act-
That's
like,
right. A breakdown
for
of
this job.
That's right.
This is going to be what my labor and material cost.
Yes.
That's what we
Yes.
need to ask from him.
Yeah.
Well, see, and his labor cost is going to be.
I'm just going to make a couple notes.
Yeah.
over time. It's I mean, handing him all this money at once makes me nervous that. 'cause
Well, and that's
now
what
he
I
gets
was.
half-way through the job, and now he's out of money
Yeah,
for payroll.
that's what I was wanting to suggest this time is like just getting our money out there. Like, what if we just gave him 15 grand
Yeah.
and said,
Yeah.
hey, we want you to pay this back in 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still going to help him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but would he have the ability in order to be able to pay that back that quickly? I don't know, but
Or
I
if we
think
could,
that's-
if we could establish tranches of like, as you achieve these different things, this amount of money gets unlocked.
Yeah.
That's have a milestone-driven way of doing it is also
just to
great.
kind of walk into
Yeah.
it a little bit with that type of relationship so that we'd be able to, almost start to, establish credit with them.
On a
Him
five-story
establish credit with
hotel,
us.
I've got to think he's going to be on that job a minimum of 3 months, an absolute minimum.
Yeah, so if we gave him like 15 grand and asked him for a payback of 4 or 5 months
Well, but
on a weekly basis.
Well, that's where to get him flowing. Yeah, that would work to take a little bit off the top.
Or maybe we don't dictate that amount, but maybe we ask him because if he can create that for us, then I think that the job needs will dictate that, right? So we can actually look at that and see,
But if he's got 35,000 in material costs, that he's gonna have to buy
right.
70% of that up front, like 70% of it just to get started.
That's
then-
it. Yeah, I mean, giving him 15 grand
Doesn't help him.
Doesn't
sound
help
fine,
him.
but yeah, can
Yeah.
he actually use
That's right.
that? or not?
It's not gonna that's just gonna let him go get this started, and then he doesn't have enough to bill for it the first month.
Yeah. One last thing. I think the other thing is, and I don't know how much time we'd want to give to this, but if he's feeling like he needs some advice from this, especially if we're about to put our money in it, I'm certainly willing to sit down with him some and hear, and I don't know who else, but we may be able to like just give him some advice and kind of help guide some of that as well. So because we want our money to succeed, we want him to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the more that we help him, the more that he has a better chance of succeeding.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
agree with that totally.
Yeah.
Because like the text message I sent you today
Because
was about what do we do if he does the.
oh yeah, right,
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
We,
I mean, but
we got to have a plan in place.
I
for
think
that.
Yeah.
I think that a part of our
an attorney on
of
the
this
team.
part of it is having him come in and kind of report, and we
Sure.
would be reporting on did he make payments, did he not?
Yeah.
Each time that we meet, and that would be a part of our weekly update as well, just based off of our investments when we're not on camera. We're still having that update on a
Sure.
regular basis. So I
Yep.
mean, we'll know. One way or the other, and we'll still send Jim over there to break his legs if we need to.
I've got big equipment that digs deep holes.
Oh man.
I'm just kidding, Scott.
We
What
have
would your repercussion be? I mean, number one, being on this show, like we're all gonna know,
Right.
Yeah. And
which is
it's real money.
kind of
and
scary.
Or if we give it to him and then he's out, he's filed bankruptcy before. So I guess to file it again isn't that big of a deal to somebody. And I'm not saying that to him directly right now, but just thinking as a whole, And if he's just gone, then are we going to sue him?
Yeah.
Are we
Right.
going to go find him?
Yeah. And that's something that we'll have to determine. I mean, I've got another investment group right now that we're kind of in the midst of like, hey, it's been a lot longer for us to get paid back than what we're anticipating, and we're getting close to time to be able to have to make that decision. I mean, that's something that we got to consider.
It's like
with
anything.
With any of these.
And the more we have that defined on the front end, then the better it is for everybody because we all
Exactly.
understand what the different
So in
paths
your
are.
other group, did they have a plan before they handed the money out of what they're going to do on the back end?
No doubt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Well, are you saying if it didn't get paid?
Yes. Well,
Oh.
did you have a plan in place?
There was not a plan in place
Okay,
because
that's
we
okay.
anticipated that happening a lot sooner than it did, and it's gone on. It's gone
But
on
yeah,
and
so
on
but,
and
but
on.
you anticipated them paying, so now that they haven't, you didn't have a plan in place of what you were going to do.
Exactly, and that and that hurt us.
So
yeah.
are you going to be? So they going to be looking at each person in the group to put some money in to go hire an attorney, or?
Well, right now what we had happened is they paid us a late fee for they just started paying an extra additional money each month that it still did not happen until that deal didn't happen. So we have that money accumulated, and supposedly on that deal, it's going to happen before Thanksgiving. I got a text message from today that's going to happen before Thanksgiving. So if that doesn't happen, it's going to be time to take action. And that particular deal, if we do take action, then what stinks about it is if we do take action, then it's going to kill the whole deal.
Yeah.
Because if there's some kind of litigation out there, then no bank's going to work with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, sometimes you become the problem yourself as the investor,
Yeah.
and like you need to all work together to get to that end goal. Like
Because
what
you
I-
want your money back
you
at
want
a
your-
minimum.
and we're
You
not
know?
going to get anything back if that happens. And that's
Right.
what I keep telling the whole group. I'm like, look, I mean, this is something that we got to kind of, work through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it happens.
Cash flow is king. Man, it matters.
Yes, it does.
Matters a whole bunch.
Yes, exactly. It's
Yeah.
huge. It's huge. Okay, well, we'll continue to table that for Scott LaFerry's possible loan, and
So you're going to request to
I'm going
get
to
some.
request the material and labor breakdown on those two jobs, so we can see what that is.
Yep.
And then we'll see if we get that. I mean, obviously, sometimes if there's no additional follow up, maybe those jobs already are happening and you already found the money someplace else and there's no need. I do have a feeling in this specific case that there will be another opportunity no matter what, because obviously he has no problem going and getting work.
Yeah. So well, right now work is abundant.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're not getting work right now, you're not doing something right. Mm-hmm. But so there's in that I've got a little bit of a safety mechanism built in by asking that, because if he sends us over his material and his labor costs and they equal the total cost of that, I won't back, so there's no profit.
Right.
I mean, that's that.
Sure.
And
Right.
you'll see this after the fact, but that's my safety mechanism built in. If you're willing to pay 20% for this money, but you need to be at least making 20% on this job to be able to afford this money.
Exactly.
That's kind of my safety mechanism built in by asking him for this, to see how much true thought and time is put into what he gives us.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if he's willing to pay 20% for his money and he don't have 20% profit built in there, that money.
It's not a great. I'm no mathematician, but that's
there-
not the way
yeah.
you want to
there's
do
not,
it.
there's
really
not,
difficult.
there's not
Yeah.
enough money to pay back.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
Now we have another investment opportunity. We have Adrian Cooper with us today from the Moonlight Roller Lounge. It's the first 18 and up roller lounge here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I think. I've heard that it's kind of like the Dave and Buster's of like roller skating. I don't know, but this is our next opportunity to invest. Adrian, you gonna come on here?
Oh
roll
man.
on in.
Anywhere?
Oh man.
Oh,
man. Oh hello.
Thank you
Just
guys
roll
for
right
having
in
me.
here.
Yeah, I do
That's
everything
amazing.
on wheels.
That's
Part of the
awesome.
brand.
That's part of the brand.
Absolutely.
For
awesome.
the brand.
Yes, for the brand.
So, Adrian, thank you for coming on to the show, coming on to the VIP Investment Club. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little background, so that we kind of know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Sure. So Moonlight Roller Lounge is my brainchild. I came up with the concept in February of this year. Prior to working on this venture, I had been in corporate catering, so I know that there is a need for a unique venue in the Southeast. I am a mom. I'm a Navy veteran. I went to college here at UTC before enlisting in the Navy, and now I'm back here to bring my business to life.
Awesome.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
And you're going to have this in Chattanooga?
So we'll be in Ottawa.
Okay, in Ottawa. Okay.
We're at Noodle.
Hopefully, right outside of Cambridge Square. Another potential location we have is on Avison Pike, We're working with 2 separate developers.
Are you going for a new building or an
brand new
existing
building, yes,
Really?
new
Okay,
building.
so you're going to take the deep dive. Okay.
We don't do anything halfway.
Okay.
We
All right. So you're not going in an old grocery store or anything like that. You're going for
I don't.
how many square feet?
23,000. I don't think this model would survive in any sort of. We would have to have a from scratch building to really attract the customers that we're looking for.
Okay.
And how much money are you looking for? Like, what's your plan on that?
Our total is 250,000. We've currently raised 70,000 through crowdfunding and private investors. So now we're just looking for an additional 170 for year 1 operations in FF&E.
What do you have put together that we can look at?
What would you like to see? I've got a business plan, pitch deck, architectural designs for the space, full brand guide, a lookbook, all the pieces to the puzzle.
I imagine that's all electronic. You can email to us.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Who's your architect?
Patrick Parker. He was interning at Artec.
Okay.
He did
I know
my design.
Artec well, so he's out on his own now.
He is.
Okay.
Awesome. And if for the funds that you've raised already, what kind of return are you providing to those crowdfunders and private investors?
So for the crowdfunding we just did, we went through Kickstarter. So it's not equity or a loan really. We provided rewards in exchange for the investment. So we did like a week of free skating when we opened, some of our merchandise that we mailed out to our backers.
Oh, okay.
For our private investors, currently the investors that we have are equity holders, so they'll be sitting on our board.
Oh, okay. And what's the largest equity investor that you have so far? How much did they put in?
10% at 50,000.
Okay.
Someone opens the door. What do they experience when they go in?
Well, really, we are completely stripping the old, worn-down model of roller skating and reintroducing it to adults as a viable entertainment option. Roller skating was one of America's favorite pastimes until the early 2000s. However, rink models have not changed since the first rink has opened, and because of that, American roller rinks are closing at a rapid rate. But even though rinks are closing, new rinks open every year, which shows that there's a need for skating, but rinks haven't found a way to make themselves profitable. The market that they pander to is very much children's events, parties, and those are not streams of income that are getting anybody to retirement.
So how are you
Those are
different?
like there's an existing roller skating rink.
Yes.
Off of
Gun barrel.
Gun Barrel Road.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's that
My kids
rink
actually
is
go to
owned.
parties out there.
There's 3. They're all under management and ownership by the Proctors. And how we're different from every other skate rink, we are the only rink model like this in the country right now. We will be serving alcohol. Our venue is a
So do they
we
have
have
to
a
sign? Do they
solid
have to sign a
waiver.
waiver?
Yes,
No way
solid
that's
waiver.
gonna work.
It does already.
I mean, really?
Rinks already do sip and skate events everywhere. They do BYOB or they'll do wine and spirits or
So-
wine and.
When were roller skating rinks like really killing it? Like my grandfather.
The 80s, I would say.
owned a
Disco.
roller skating
Yeah.
rink.
Disco,
The 80s.
Like,
but that's back.
Yeah.
really?
Ask the New York Times.
Okay. And what did the New York
They're
Times say?
full of it though.
Well, they think that now is
Wrong part of the country.
the market is leaning towards social experiences and social interactions.
Sure.
People brag about unplugging for a weekend, unplugging for a day, for their trainings, for their corporate meetings. So this gives an opportunity to combine the social aspect of roller skating in an upscale, more intimate environment, something that adults are going to want to pay to enter. I know that you guys probably wouldn't go hang out at Hamilton Skate Place on your Saturday night because it doesn't have any attractions that are appealing to adults. The food is concession stand food. There's not any areas for people to sit and socialize. So really we're just trying to completely strip what you think whenever people say roller rink.
So you're going to be a bar where you
Lounge,
can skate.
not bar.
Lounge.
Lounge.
Different
What's the
clientele,
difference?
different vibe.
Really?
Whenever I think of a bar, I think of Southside Social.
Which, see, I think of that as a lounge because they've got couches and things like that.
What you're talking about.
Clearly. Clearly.
So,
Maybe I've been out of the scene too long.
See, that's it. A higher class experience.
Okay.
Like I said before I took on this venture, I was in corporate catering. So Chattanooga and Ottawa are at 95% occupancy for their event venues for the past 3 years.
Wow.
So I personally have been to 3 corporate Christmas parties at Southside Social. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but Cleveland has tons of money in that market that is completely underserved. There are no true venues for those networking professionals, for those business professionals. So when corporate comes into town, they're bringing everybody to downtown Chattanooga for an event. If you're in Ottawa, you're driving. I live in McDonald, and I drive downtown anytime I want to do something fun.
So you're trying to get in the
because-
middle.
Exactly. Pull from both of those markets.
Why is this a passion for you?
So whenever I got out of the Navy, I knew that I wanted to come back to Chattanooga and I wanted to start a business. I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. Chattanooga has grown so much. Whenever I moved here in 2013, there was nothing in Ottawa. And now Cambridge Square, Ottawa is just, I think it's the fastest growing zip code in the state, actually. I was pulled back to this area and I picked up roller skating. I've not always been a roller skater. And the first time I went to a rink, my work wife at Apple Spice, Casey Rogers, girlfriend has purple roller skates attached to her at all times.
Okay.
So she tried to get me out to the rink, and I was like, no, do people roller skate still even? And she was like, yes, girl, come out. So I go out to Hamilton Skate Place, and within like 25 minutes of being there, I got annihilated by a 12-year-old who was too big to not be paying attention. And as I'm laying there thinking about my life choices and why I even came to this rink, I realized that there really was a market for adults who want to roller skate, but the traditional rink is not the space for them. So I Googled 18 and up roller skating rink or adults only roller skating nights, rinks. Nothing is popping up in Google. So I broadened my search and broadened it to the world, like the UK. And I can't find anything like this except for one place in the Netherlands, and they are huge. They have a similar model to this. So after I realized that there really wasn't anything else like it, I started doing some market research and stumbled into an already warm market. Everyone was waiting. Adults, roller skaters have been looking for spaces like this. Not just roller skaters. Nostalgia sells. And the feeling of just feeling free and feeling young in an environment where there's no kids. That is something that is appealing and attractive to most adults. So I thought that this would be a nice way to combine those two markets.
Cool.
So basically, a 12-year-old knocked you over, and out of that, you were like, if I only had a place where there were no kids.
Yes, yes. I paid
And I'm going to
for a
replace it with
babysitter.
alcohol, which is going to make everything better.
So I've actually gone to a few adult sip and skate nights.
Okay.
I've traveled across the country visiting rinks. I've talked to rink owners. One of my investors is a rink owner, and he knows that there's a market for this because his adult sip and skate night is the highest grossing night that they have. But they can't afford a liquor license because that's not the type of model that they have. They can't afford a good lawyer to get their waiver locked airtight, which we've already done. So they just haven't found a way to expand their existing market to capture this audience, and it's because there isn't a way to combine the two things. You just have to make a whole new rink that's adult only. And surprisingly, at the adult sip and skates that I've been to, there have been little to no accidents, but if you go to just a regular skate night at a skating rink, you're going to see several accidents. Children with those skate mates going around the floor and not paying attention. Roller skating is really not big, so roller skating etiquette isn't taught like it was in the
Yeah.
70s and 80s.
Well, I was at a boot camp this weekend, and they said niche will get you rich.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
Yep.
That's getting into
This
a
is a
niche.
niche.
So it looks like you have about 2,000 followers right now on social media, 2,100 or so.
Just on our Instagram,
yeah.
across all of our platforms, we've accumulated over 5,000 followers
Okay,
worldwide.
and how have you done that?
It's done it itself.
Okay.
Truly, I mean it when I say that I stumbled into a warm market. I launched our social media in August, and since August, we've accumulated 5,000 followers worldwide.
Okay.
And
what percentage of that is in Chattanooga area?
Chattanooga and Atlanta
Okay.
are like our 62%.
Okay.
We have a random 10% following in Australia.
Okay.
So Australia has a really big roller skating scene. The West Coast has really big roller skating scenes. So this is something that we've talked about turning into a franchise model if Location 1 does well.
What's the handle on Instagram?
At Moonlight Roller Lounge.
You said you had traveled around to others. Did you go down to Atlanta to see? Because maybe not the exact concept, but maybe like the difference between bar and lounge. I know Atlanta's got a ton of adult only. Not just from watching the movie ATL, but from going there and experiencing it. I know there's a lot of adult skates and all that. Now there's a huge underground swell, and like you said, people that are really good at it. But I didn't know if you compared it to any of that.
Absolutely. Sparkles in Atlanta is one of the rinks that I speak with frequently. So they do lots of adult-only nights. They do normally 1 to 2 a week at the rinks. And they try to rotate them around. That way everyone's not doing an adult night on the same night. So the way our models are different from that model is whenever they serve alcohol, most of those rinks are BYOB if they're doing an adult sip and skate night. And the second would be we are 18 and up all the time. Our lookbook, our furniture, the vibe that we're cultivating for our customers is really what separates us from just a regular rink.
So the Moonlight Roller Lounge that I found is it had you're promoting the one that's going on in Atlanta.
Yes, we've got an event.
All right.
Yes.
So you have an event in Atlanta.
Yes.
Okay.
We've done
Sorry, I
pop-up
was
roller
like-
discos. We're advertising ourselves with pop-up roller discos. And
Okay.
we're doing them in different cities across the Southeast to really gauge the market for a franchise model. We have an
Okay.
investor in Houston that's looking at a second location as long as we perform well for the first 12 months in Location 1. So Atlanta has a huge skate market, and people who are passionate about roller skating will travel hours for an adult-only skate night.
it's a thing.
They're serious about
It's
it.
what else were we talking about today about?
That's a niche?
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying, yeah, but yeah, niche.
Oh,
niche is,
we were talking about if you're a Tesla person, you're gonna buy the truck.
Tesla. Yeah, right.
I mean,
No matter what.
Right.
you're gonna follow.
right.
Exactly.
It's crazy how many markets are out there where, if you're really appealing to that, you only need a couple thousand people that are just gonna follow. I mean, it can really add up.
Exactly.
But how will you make money?
We have a few plans for our streams of income. Our main will be an event venue. Like I did say, Chattanooga is booked out for event venues, and all of the venues are very traditional, but like I had previously mentioned, the market is pulling towards more social-based interactions. Whenever I was with Apple Spice, I catered to a lot of team building meetings. So I've spent time with these businesses and I know what they are looking for essentially. So I plan to, our VIP space will house a true conference room. We'll rent that out for conferences, but the tables will be able to be broken apart so that we can rent that venue, that space out for adult birthday parties, bachelorette parties, things of that nature.
So I could have my management team retreat at the roller skating rink,
You
and then we
absolutely
go out
can.
and roller skate.
And you team build and we'll
So how big is a traditional skating rink? Like the actual skating area?
So a traditional rink is between 20,000 and 30,000 square feet. The traditional actual floor is between 8 and 12,000.
And where are you going to be at?
10,100.
Okay.
So about in the middle.
So the $250,000, is that the money you've got to invest to go build this, and you're getting the rest of your money from the bank?
So I am not going to purchase the land or the building.
Okay.
It's a $3.2 million build out, so I would have to raise a considerable amount of funds to make that happen. Instead, I have found some developers who are interested in taking on this project, and will ground lease or will lease the building from them for 10 years.
Gotcha.
That was the reason I was asking.
Yeah, because that would be huge.
Yeah.
So that takes a lot of pressure off of us.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you're valuing the business basically at about $500,000 to begin with that $50,000 investor.
Is that $1 million? We have $1 million valuation. Overall.
$1 million valuation.
So he got for the initial $50,000, he got a
little extra.
He got a deal.
Little
He's
extra.
a rink owner.
okay.
He's also a roller skater. So I think that it would behoove me, in my inexperience, to have people on my board who can be beneficial to the
Absolutely.
company.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I'm willing to cut a deal to someone if it's in the best interest for my business.
Absolutely.
In that case, it was.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent.
So this is a long-term investment.
Yeah, this would be a much longer term investment. Yeah, for sure. Based off what I'm hearing.
When do you want to be open?
Ideally, next fall. End of the summer, early
So that
fall.
means you have to have your money raised by the end of the year.
January 1 is
Yeah,
when we would need
'cause
to go to the bank.
Yeah.
And where else are you trying to raise funds from?
I just seek private investors. I've done business with a lot of businesses in Chattanooga, so I've reached out to people that I network with and asked them if they know anyone who's interested in investing in a startup or would be interested in listening to this concept.
And I can't remember when I was asking you like how you make money. I understand like the events and everything, but like what would you be charging? Is that in your deck? Is that
It's not in our pitch plan, but it is in
Okay.
our business plan. We've got a breakdown.
okay?
We
So
have
you've
like
got
3-year
projected
cash flow.
financials in there. Oh, okay, awesome. And like how you come to those numbers. Awesome.
So sitting here today, the video of this would be really good for you to go show to people, just to get it out there. If somebody's interested, it's like, here, this is kind of a start of where we're at,
Oh, yeah.
without you having to sit and pitch to 50 people that one might say, okay, I'm interested.
And that's
Say,
normally how
look
it
at
is.
this and tell me what you think, and then we'll sit down and talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get the 212 backers from Kickstarter? What did you do to announce that and make that happen?
Social media was huge for us. We also have a sponsorship that is luck, I feel like. I'm not sure. The owner, my skates are by Moxie Roller Skates, and we're sponsored by Moxie Roller Skates. Moxie is... they're like an artisan brand of skates. Like all their skates are colored. They're very West Coast. So I reached out to the company and told them what I was doing, and they were immediately on board. I pitched to them my 12-month calendar. That was how I was going to bring people, kind of just showcase what I wanted for the business and the aesthetic of our company. So the calendar is a 12-month calendar, and every month is a completely different styled shoot, and I think all of the images showcase our brand. So I reached out to Moxie and asked if they would be interested in sponsoring our calendar. They did. They provided us with a bunch of pairs of roller skates to outfit all of our models. And then the owner of the company and the owner together, they've got like 200,000+ followers on Instagram. So I reached out to the owner, and she loved the project, and she posted us on her social media, and within 45 minutes of her posting us, funded on Kickstarter. Everyone took the project and ran. Like I said, we got lucky with a warm
That's
market.
great. No, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's nothing wrong with that.
There's what is it? It was a program by the Mark Brock that he started in Tennessee. Launch
Tennessee.
Launch Tennessee. Have you gone to them, requested any funds at all?
I'm waiting for a meeting. They're like booked. You have
Okay.
to do like a 30-minute call.
But you've already
with them.
contacted them. And then have you looked into any grants for veterans and small
Unfortunately,
businesses?
I'm not qualified for a lot of grants because we serve alcohol. we will serve alcohol in the space.
Gotcha.
So that kind of
What if you don't serve alcohol in the space?
I don't think that would work if we didn't serve alcohol. The draw of serving alcohol, so our bar is up on the second floor, so no skates are allowed up there. It's a mezzanine style, so people can really people watch. They can sit up on the mezzanine, they can have a drink. That's more of our upscale areas upstairs. Our VIP room for our conference space is upstairs, and then people can sit up on the mezzanine, have a drink, watch the skaters down below. We'll also have a vintage arcade. In case you're not a drinker, you'll have some other options to do in the space besides just drink or just skate. We'll also offer concession stands with food that adults would like to eat.
Well, what about the vintage arcade people here in town? Are you doing anything with them?
And are you the barcade or coin op arcade?
I'm not sure what
I
it's
have
called.
no
There's
idea
a
what he's
vintage
talking
arcade.
about.
There's a vintage arcade downtown that you have
Yeah.
to pay just to get into.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, God, lease them a little part of your building. Let them have the vintage arcade in there, and then you got cash flow right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's great.
could be an
I'll
option.
reach out.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you, guys.
I think the next steps for us, I mean, because it is a little bit longer term investment, but next steps for us would be to review the pitch deck and projections for us to be able to look at that. But in the meantime, I'm glad she came on here to tell us about it so that we have that out on social media and be able to tell more people about it around here.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Because it
Yeah.
seems like, I mean, it is I think you're going to have to find people that are already very passionate about roller skating, just like they'd be passionate about Tesla or other things, that is such a niche that for investors, I guess what I'm curious of seeing is in the projections, like how many roller skaters do you have to have come through there in order to make money?
Well, that's the thing. As we see from traditional rinks, roller skaters will not keep your doors open.
Mm-hmm.
Roller skating rentals don't make money. You're talking $4 to $5 a pop for skate rentals,
Mm-hmm.
$6 for admission. That won't keep your doors open. $40,000 a week in bar sales will.
Mm-hmm.
Event bookings,
But
weekly,
lounge
the lounge
sales.
and alcohol sales.
Not
Yeah,
bar,
yes.
not bar sales.
Excuse
It's
me.
not a bar.
It's not a bar, but alcohol.
But you're banking on alcohol.
Yeah,
making this
that's why I
happen.
said this is a lounge, or excuse me, I said a bar.
You said a
but I
bar,
said this
but
is a
it's a
bar
lounge.
where this is a lounge where you can go
Right.
skate also.
Exactly.
You're basing your business model off alcohol sales.
And
Right.
as an event venue, that's where our main sales.
Well,
will
you'll
come
get
from,
your
event
you'll
sales.
get more of your. Would you define that as more, I guess, pure profit? I would say on the events.
Yes. Aside from our space.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Moxie would be the skates that you would rent out to people?
Yes, they
Yeah.
will be the skates
Yeah.
that we rent out to people. As a matter of fact, the owner of Moxie is flying from California to come to our event in Atlanta.
Awesome.
And she will be there. We've already sold. I think we're sold
Why
out.
don't you get
as
her
of
to
now.
throw in the $250,000?
She contributed to our Kickstarter, but they are still making roller skates has a lot of overhead. So they're
I could
still
imagine.
trying to,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And there's not a huge market out there for roller skates.
Their company, Moxie, has grown 113% in sales over the past 3
What
years.
what does a pair of their roller skates cost?
$299 minimum.
Wow.
Sorry.
How much time have you spent on finding these other roller skating rink owners to go to them to be investors?
I actually am working with the RSA, which is the Roller Skating Association. So that's
Of course
a
there's an
collective.
associate. There's an
Yes, there
association
is
for
for
everything.
everything.
That is crazy.
They actually, one thing that they're trying to tackle right now is rink closures. So whenever I introduced my idea to Jim McMahon, who's the president, he put us on the front page of their website and said that we were breathing new life into roller skating and that he would do everything that he could to help me get funded. And he did link me up with one investor.
I just think that your existing roller skating rink owners
They don't have the money.
are the place that you got to go.
Do you
don't
know
have the
the
money.
Do you know the owners of the 3 rinks here? You said it's one owner.
Yeah.
They don't like you, do they?
No,
I'm
you
just
know.
saying it's going to be hard to get people with money to invest in this thing. Like, it's going to be really difficult because the return, like, just thinking about how to get the return, because really they're not investing in the roller skating, they're investing in a lounge.
The venue.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
The venue.
Yes,
Don't
exactly.
call it a bar.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Don't say bar.
That's what I caught myself. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I just think that's going to be it's just going to be a challenge. You need a rich roller skating rink owner. And
There
you're like,
aren't
they
really.
don't exist. Okay, so then when you tell me they don't exist,
So that's an
I'm like,
oxymoron. I know.
this really this really, hurts the cause, right? Like,
No, I say
where
no
can I
because
what is an example of me as an investor to be able to earn all my money back and then some for an event space, basically?
right, an event space, our bar sales, our concession sales, our lounge sales.
What? Look at every bowling alley today. Every bowling alley you go to is no longer the traditional bowling alley. It's a lounge
Yes.
and not. I mean, it's
And those popped up 7 years ago out of nowhere.
What if you went to do bowling alley owners make money?
They do now.
And
now
money.
as,
They sure
as a
do
lounge.
now.
Now that they're not catering to just the people.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, where you're
Because
trying
bowling,
to.
it's the same. Bowling
Yeah,
does
it's-
not pay the bills, but if you change the
Model.
environment
Yeah.
and you make it so that it's attractive to people who don't just roller skate,
Right.
you make it so it's a nightlife
Yeah.
attraction. It's a space that everybody can throw their corporate parties at. Everyone knows that adults can throw their birthday parties here, bachelorette, bachelor parties, all the sorority and fraternity mixers. That will be a huge source of income for us.
especially from the Seventh-day Adventist College up there. Though.
Exactly. Well, luckily,
As
with
long
our
as they're
bar being on
seniors.
the, with
That's
our
right.
Over
lounge
21,
being
right.
up on the second floor, anyone from Southern Lee completely underserved. The Cleveland market is underserved as far as event venues go. So us having the alcohol upstairs gives us the ability to continue renting out the space for parties. And if Southern doesn't want to see it, awesome. We'll just go ahead and close up the stairwell and nobody goes up to the bar.
Well, if it were me, I'd be also looking at these event venue owners around town, as well as the bowling alley owners for potential investors. I just think that it's gonna be difficult to get people that aren't in that space to be investing in that because
Southside Social North.
they haven't
Thank
seen
you.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I because that's why when my mind went to bowling alleys
It's the same.
and Southside Social. So there's your Southside Social North.
Yeah.
And that's the
And you-
market. That's the exact market. And look at the people who are keeping Southside Social open. They're not bowlers.
No,
They're people who are going to bowl and have a drink. These
Right.
are people.
it's
who
people that are going to
this-
drink and then they can bowl
and
while
then
they're
they bowl
drunk.
while they're there. Exactly.
It's what we said a minute ago about it being a bar with a skating rink.
So I have a couple of thoughts. One is when you do your pitch, I think you should lead with bowling alleys. So you should show like, this is where bowling alleys, this is their rise, this is their fall, and this is their resurgence. Okay, that needs to be your like
We backed
example.
into that,
Okay, yeah, because that's how I would start with that because it's super. Everyone's seeing the transformation of bowling. And everyone's seeing different sales of food and all the things you're talking about. There's a real direct correlation there. So I would lead with that because I think that can set a framework to say, hey, there's a possibility here that nobody's tapped into. So I think that's thing number one. Thing number two is when you have this event down in Atlanta, you need to bring cameras and you need to be capturing a few things. Everybody's just what they're doing. Well, you also need to get testimonials of people saying like, this is why this is awesome. I wish we had this, you know, so grow your social proof because it's like, here's the environment where all that's happening. So instead of me having to imagine what that's like, I can see a video of like, oh, here's everybody doing that. So this is great. So like, get as much as you can and get as many people as you can on camera talking about it because later you may find the audio is weird or something, but get as much of that as you can because I think that would be really compelling if you were able to show us like here's what an event looks like and you could pull it up and we could see it and then we could see everybody's enthusiasm about it. I do think alcohol is, I see it's your cornerstone piece of the equation, but I also think that it is different in a bowling alley. I mean, there is a big heavy ball, I guess, that they're throwing, but it is a little different in like everybody on, I'm still imagining everyone tipsy roller skating. That's
Those are hard falls.
those are,
Not
yeah.
as hard when you've
Yeah.
had a couple drinks.
Yeah,
It is-
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
But
so-
we do have a system that I've designed to big brother everyone in the space and monitor every single person who walks through the door from the time that they sign the waiver to the time that they get their wristband with their QR code individualized to their account. We can see exactly what they've drank and when, so we can completely personalize their customer experience. When they come back through the door in a week, we can say, oh, hey JD, we see that you love Blue Moons. Well, guess what? We've got Blue Moon on draft right now, $5. So head on up to the lounge. And that, after 3 drinks, we have a 3-drink advisory, 3 drinks, 2 skate. So after you've had 3 drinks, you're under our advisement, and if we think that you look a little wobbly, we have a roller guard rolling around who will tap people off the floor. Roller guard.
Okay, so you got some regulation around.
See, that's better. See, that I would
That's
also
good.
have that somewhere early on
I
too.
do. I
Because that's a
try.
big
Yeah.
that's a big concern as I'm sitting listening. Like, oh no, there's just yeah. So I would definitely include that early on too. That's great that you've thought through some of those systems, and I think a franchise model is awesome. Like I've been over here on my computer while you've been talking, and so I could see on Instagram. I see your vibe. It's super modern. It's super cool and hip. Like I see what you're going for, and I think it's a really cool thing. Like I see how a bunch of younger, it's definitely a younger demographic that is going to be pumped to go to that. So that makes a ton of sense to me. I think you've got a good concept. I do think when you go to pitch, breaking it down those elements, using, when is this event that's in Atlanta?
December 6th.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be really key. So like, do everything you can to get the best photographer, the best video people you can con into doing it for you.
There's a company called JD Frost Media.
You can talk to them. There's a variety of people you can talk to.
There is, isn't there?
But I would say that could
love to see
even
Jay
some
down on some roller skates.
outspend of money that's going to be money really well spent, because then it takes it away from everyone having to imagine what this is like to seeing like this
They
is
can see
packed,
it.
you know. And I would even do things
You
like
can build that up as content too, and post on your
That's
phone
exactly
on
what we
Instagram.
did. We've got a couple video clips from our last event floating around on our Instagram.
Yeah, so I guess
those
what
are
I'm
the
saying is like
best.
up that. Just get that even a little more polished. I would even have the doors closed, build a line, show like anticipation of everyone trying to get in. Do anything you can to show like there's a hunger for this. I think that would be wise use of your time on that. But yeah, it's really interesting.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Also, last thing I had was these existing skate rinks. Is there not a way to just go ahead and repurpose one of those? Like, are any of them for sale? I mean, if they're
You're
having
not
trouble.
going to get one bought from the company.
Not in the
here, yeah.
area,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Okay.
no. And
Have you looked into that to just see? Okay. Okay.
So there was an old rink in Hickson that closed down a while ago, and it's now a grocery store. My original intention was not to build a building from scratch. It was to remodel the Powerhouse Gym on Lee Highway. So I had been dealing with a realtor, and we priced out like a complete remodel. And then in dealing with the owner of that building, he wasn't going to lock me into a lease agreement, like a rental rate, for more than 3 years. And he wouldn't do any TI, but we had to sprinkler the building. So I was just feeling like, you want me to spend $300,000+ to renovate this building, and I don't even have security for 3 years. You guys could close my doors because I can't afford my rent. It's just not a viable way to run a business.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Gotcha.
cool.
James, you got any questions or anything? You've been quiet over there, just listening away.
I got distracted, but I was listening. Being closer to Atlanta, I think, or I don't know. I've got some agents that lived in Atlanta. I do know it's super popular, and they get mad that in Vero, which is a tiny town, we just have the one skating rink that's mostly kid-driven. But we did have our bowling alley repurposed to the point earlier, and we have had SLS has had corporate events there. And it's interesting because less than 10% of the people that show up probably actually bowl, but it gives a whole different, it makes having conversations with people easier because you have a distraction. You could be like, oh, look at Bill over there trying to throw the bowling ball. And then to the drinking standpoint, I know ice skating rinks are very popular, and I went to one in New York, and I don't know, I think I did one lap around, and then the whole rest of the time I sat there and ordered food and people watched him, but it was a conversation for a big group of us that went. And I know they all serve alcohol, and it's a big deal, in the winter up there. Just to piggyback on those two ideas, it's a good idea. I think I agree to compare to those two.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Amy.
Thank you,
I really
guys.
appreciate
Thank
you
you so
coming
much for
on
having
and
me.
sharing with us that opportunity. And we'll be reaching out to get some more information.
And you win best prize for creative entrance.
I mean, that's the
into
creative
Thank you.
entrance, exactly.
You gotta live the brand.
That's right.
You
No,
got
that's awesome.
to.
That's great.
So,
Excellent.
all right.
Thank you.
guys
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
As she rolls on out of here.
And she's going to roll on out of here.
That's great. That's hilarious.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Well, do y'all have any other questions or anything for today at all?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I think that that gives us some
Oh.
other opportunities.
Yeah, so I think we're kind of inventing this for ourselves too, right? So it does seem like we should tell any potential guest, like, hey, bring your pitch deck, because we could throw it up on the screen. We could have them pitch to us, because I think it sounded like there were some things that she had in her pitch, that if we had just let her do it that way, maybe that would have set some ground for us.
Yeah,
So,
and with this particular case, this came up like 2 days ago.
Sure, yeah.
And that's my fault for
No,
not
it's
like
great.
getting that. But
I do
Just tell them
think-
to bring
in the
all their
future-
information with them.
yeah, I think that would be
and
helpful.
I think, like, I have a couple other opportunities that have come up, and like one of them in particular, he was like, I said, dude, are you gonna come? I mean, I think he's asking for like $6,000. Like, it's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's for a build out of a space. But he was like, I don't want to. Like, I'm a little worried about it. And because it's intimidating.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Clearly.
I think I wonder if it would be good for us to.
What kind of space is he trying to build out? What's he trying to do?
Well, I don't really know a ton of the particulars,
Okay.
and I kind of want to. I think that he'll eventually come on, so I don't want to like scare him off.
Sure.
But I guess like what would be interesting is like each of us to kind of email back like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that we'd like to see everybody, so we can send them like Matt can send them a formal email to say, all right, here's what you need to be ready for.
Yeah.
Like that's probably be a lot easier to digest.
This is a cool thing that we just saw happen, which is we did not have every little detail figured out, but we went ahead and got started. And I think a lot of people that are trying to like go into business are quick to like, I can't yet because there's 100 things and I have to have everything perfect. And there are some things that you should have right? Like we needed to have money and we need to have some things. But like these details, we're organically kind of figuring those out as we go. And could you imagine if we just waited? Well, we would
never do anything.
Owning a business is about taking risk. I mean, like, I just committed another $150,000 to a piece of equipment now, and I know I'm going to be able to use it. But it's not like I've got just stuff lined up here and lined up there. It's I need it now,
That's
and it's
right.
better than renting it. So let's go buy it, and we'll figure out a way to make it work.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's a cool. I think we just modeled. Not that we're like amazing, but we modeled a cool thing there of like we don't really know all the details. We just realized, hey, there's a gap here. We just talked through some ideas. We kind of created a loose plan. That's part of. But we may not have even thought of this, and we could have waited 6 more months before we would have started.
Well, we totally wouldn't have if we hadn't been meeting and talking about those
Yep.
things. And that's one thing that, that's the whole point of putting together the group is to be able to show those things.
Yes.
To be able
Yeah.
to show what that really looks like. Because I think that's what even frustrates me sometimes is just not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
You can tell
Yeah.
I'm more of a pusher and an executor.
Yeah.
Like, let's do something.
Yes.
But what I like about other groups, and it's just a part of my personality, is I like being able to figure those things out together along the way,
Yeah.
and then now we got it,
Yep.
and then we'll move forward.
Yep, I love it.
Well, and everybody here, like he said earlier, and you've even said it, we all bring different strengths,
Mm-hmm.
and I think one of them is we're not shy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
you can't be. I mean, I couldn't imagine being sitting here thinking, my God, how am I going to say something? I mean,
This is the worst idea. How
I
did I
thought
not
that
get
might
it?
be part of the issue at some point in time. I figured out it's not.
no, I mean,
That's awesome.
but we're all doers.
Right.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't do and put that money in there and go out on that limb.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talked about this and I committed $10,000 to it, in my mind, I'm like, what in the hell are we fixing to do?
But we're gonna do something.
Because I've never
do something.
Like I've invested a lot of money in my company.
Yeah.
And I'm investing in me. But
Yeah.
here, I'm investing in something outside of just me.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's
it's nerve wracking. Yeah. You know, after a couple months, I sent you text. I was like, man, we gonna get this thing going. I was like, is the money still there?
We think it is.
And then we got here and we didn't even know how much we had. And I said, oh, this is great. This is really good.
This is classic.
Oh man, that's
I'm
just
over here
part
doing math in my book, and
You're
I'm
putting yourself out there, you know. I mean,
let's do it. Dude, it's a
what it
blast. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's
Let's
fun.
let's do it.
I just jumped directly into the fire. You know.
So we went a month and a half this time meeting. Are we gonna try to meet middle of December?
Yes. Yeah,
Let
yeah.
get this
I
nailed
think-
down to.
I think that meeting on a monthly basis and recording and having the pitches, and one thing that will help me is if you all have anybody that's looking for money that you come across. I mean, no matter how big or small, like I think that would help us too, just to know that. And what we'll do is we'll go back and schedule a time before Christmas. That's it.
Well, you
That's
should
right.
you should come down to
Yeah,
Vera
we-
with
we
JD.
close it out.
Yeah, close it out. Just close it out.
Yeah.
Close us out.
Well, today we were able to hear from Adrian Cooper about the roller skating rink, and we got
it's
to.
not a roller skating rink.
Oh, yeah, it is. Roller skating rink.
It's a lounge.
Oh, it's a lounge, right? Yeah, it's a lounge. But got to learn a lot from her. We also were able to at least revisit Scott LaFerry and see if we were going to be investing money with him. We decided to adjust some of our stock picks. We decided to invest in 2 additional stocks as well as dump GM. Sorry, GM. And so I think one big takeaway for me today is having a plan about one, how you're going to pitch your investment idea, who you're going to pitch it to, knowing your audience, and really knowing your investors, knowing who would be interested in these investments that you might be pitching to other people. And if you're the ones receiving the pitch on the investment, I think that having your plan put together about how you're going to make those decisions, how you're going to make those investment decisions, having that maybe not all the way laid out in the beginning, but at least being willing to take the risk and figure it out along the way and put those provisions in throughout that investment, whether or not are we going to continue to ride this or are we going to create some kind of stop loss in order to minimize our losses or at least maximize any possible gain that we could have in the investment. So thank you for tuning in to the VIP Investment Club, and we will see you next month.